Hi, this is Ron Janish. Hello, Brazil. The purpose of this video is to show you the progress that we've made, and what you'll actually find is that we have fulfilled the absolute bare minimum of the Milestone 1 requirements. And what we're really working on is on something that will be for Felipe when he comes here, and we do recommend that he brings his laptop and an additional laptop upon, and what we will do is we will put our software on both of these, okay, and together with the commercial software products that are used, then we can all run the system. Okay, let's go back for a moment. If you remember, in the standing agreement that we have, it says that we're going to the intention is to have a working prototype, Milestone 1, that perform historical tests and give orders for the next trading day with a minimum of 9 months and maximum of 18 months, yada yada yada. And we'll choose from the above list the order of implementation, and that was the 1 through whatever thing, and and it goes on. But to us, the important part is right here. If RCS attempts to reach Milestone 1 by October 14th, October 2014, then we'll do so by selecting the select parts from that list. So that doesn't mean we'll complete all those parts. It just means we'll complete parts of those things. Okay, of number 1, 2, 14, 4, and 15. Okay, now that may not make sense to anyone unless they understand all that stuff in detail. So I'm going to give you a little Cook's tour to give you a better demonstration of what's going on. Okay. And right now, as you'll see, we're attempting to reach the October 14th deadline, and as you saw in the thing previously, we have done a lot of good work on pivots and on the min pivots, and now we're working on other things. And so in this video here, you'll see many of the things that are up and working. And we're really focusing on the time we have left to do something that will be very nice in October. That's our main goal. Okay, so what we do is we have this data that was given to us with the program, and we just updated the data to something recent. And this data happened to be on the Dow 30 stocks. And so what we did was we said to the programmer, said, hey, you can pick min pivots pretty decently. Let's just simply run and put together a program that shows, maybe using the median line or something simple like that, that you can work with the data and work with AMI Broker in order to have buy and sell orders for the next day. And so, and over time that you can do historical studies, because that's one of the things we have in Milestone 1. So what we did was we put this median line system in, and we said, okay, let's give us some tests. And this is one of the tests we had with the median line system. Okay. And this was a test we had with the reverse median line system. And what's interesting here is that what you have trades that occur with a system that is with two systems that are very similar, and they occur on different days, which means that someone could use the same amount of capital for working both systems, which is kind of neat. Okay. And so, and what we're going to do here is we're going to run both systems over the same time period and take a look at the results. Okay. So that we can kind of mentally guess what might happen by putting these two together. And we'll do this in a minimal sense. Okay, here for example we have AA, which is alcoa aluminum or something. And in order to do a test, let me show you first of all the parameters we're using. We're using the default pivot formula in here. And then the only thing we've really done in the settings is we have everything left on close, so it only enters and exits on the close. And in terms of stops, we put in a 5% stop so that it kind of minimizes the risk. And even with a 5% stop, what it does is I think it gets out at the close or something like that. Okay, so there's plenty of time and stuff to see things. Okay, so all we do is we do that. Okay, and then all we do is we do something else. See, there's a little show you a little something in here. Page report. Here we go. Add artificial future bar that allows to see tomorrow's trade picks if there's any trades for tomorrow. So what it's going to do is it's going to go through the historical data and say, well, if you have a trade tomorrow, here's what it's going to be. Okay. And we can see that there are no trades for tomorrow, but in the historical study, it found these two trades here in the last year. Okay. And so this was the reverse system. Let's see what happened with the regular system. Just press on here, and because we did the study earlier, and we can see that this was the result, and for tomorrow we have one position that's presently open. And so it's kind of neat if you're able to take two systems and combine them and use the same capital for these systems. It's much more efficient use of capital. All right? And that's part of the idea that we're going to be working on for the JV to get signals for the JV and systems for the JVs that can be used very efficiently, that utilize two or more subsystems. Okay, because we want to have nice products for the JV, as we want to generate revenue, and part of our plan is very simple. We realize that you're doing stuff down there in Brazil or wherever. It will take some time for you to get things up and running down there, and what we're going to do is show what we can do to institutions that we know, some people at some institutions that we know. We can sit there and bring in our computer and show them the test results, and we can show them the real account results and see what kind of interest we can generate. For us, our effective cost is about is somewhere around 5%, because we have to send the JV for 9%, and then we get 4% of that back pretty much. And so, for the management fees we get, that's not a big deal. So anyway, so we have that. Now it's the other thing that I found really interesting and exciting that I haven't done any work on. But one of the things when doing historical studies with that program is, with the AMI Broker program, is it's called information. And let's bring that over here. One of the things it does, if you're is it asks you a bunch of questions and stuff on these different things, and on stocks it's pretty straightforward and really no big deal, because it works the same, and you just kind of double numbers if you're using margin or something like that. But if you're going to do this in in futures or in currencies, it's really, really different. Well, let me just add this just for fun. Okay, see in here, there's really, all that stuff isn't set. And so my guess is that what it does is it uses the same formula in stocks that it does in currencies in calculating profit and loss. Here's why this is important. In currencies, it's normal to use a lot of leverage. So in stocks in the USA, you might use 50%, 2-to-1 leverage. Okay, but in currencies, some places go crazy and use 100-to-1 leverage, and I don't associate with places like that. I use a place like IB, and they have a reasonable leverage thing that's like 10 or 20-to-1 or something. And so how this is meaningful is, as we look at, see, where is that? The results on here, we see that the results in the currencies on a net percentage basis were much lower than the average one in the stocks. Yeah, that's because they don't fluctuate as much. And if there's no leverage calculated into this, and you do a 10-to-1 or 20-to-1 or thing like IB does, this number here changes significantly. Right? So if this number here changes that significantly, then there's some really interesting possibilities with this here. Let me just take a look at something while I put this on pause. Okay, what I just did was I just did a test in the currencies, and okay, yeah, that works. So one of the things I did was I set up a different size max loss, and I set it to 1%, which is $1,000, assuming $100,000 account here. And that's because in currencies, we do things on a lot tighter basis. So that's how I set it up here. And so I guess on the leverage part, you got to assume that we're trading with, I guess, 20-to-1 leverage or 10-to-1 leverage or something like that with a $100,000 account. It's not bad. So you have to take that into consideration when you do that here, when you look at these numbers here. And we have not changed the pivot formula. And so here's the run from using the reverse system. Now let's take a look at the run using the regular system. And there's a few there. And so what you have to remember is that you can combine these results, and together they would be the basis of something for a single signal or product that is sold through the or offered as a service through the JV. Okay, and we still have more work to do on this. We have to combine them and those other things and see how that all works out. And then when you implement them, you need to remember that you're using a leverage in currencies in many cases of somewhere around 20-to-1. That's not unusual. This 100-to-1 stuff doesn't work for me. That's just a little too nuts. And you do have the capability easily of 20-to-1 or 10-to-1. And so then you would need to keep that in mind when you're producing these kind of results. Okay. Let's take a look. What was the other one again? Analysis 5. Okay. So here we have the other one. Okay, so this one has more. And notice too that it's only in the market a few days sometimes. Here it was quickly a day out. Didn't work out. Here was also a day. Here was also a day. Here was also, no, it's been sitting in that one a while. And when it stays in it for longer, it appears to get some results that are more interesting. Let's see what else we can find here. Here we go. Here it's in for 3 days. Here it took a little longer, and here it was in for a good 5 months almost. It looks like so, and the percentage was rather decent. So, and remember, this is 5% on like $100,000, and if you're putting up 20 to margin of $20,000 or no, you wouldn't even do that much. It'd be a lot less than that. That's really quite substantial. Okay. Actually, I think the margin would be at 20 to 1 leverage. It would be $5,000, and that's quite substantial, especially when you add the total of this column here with the total in the other column, which would be, where would that be? Come on, there we go. There we go. The total in this column here. So that would be the total in this one thing, and this would be example of trading one unit. Okay. So moving further on, I believe we've shown you. Let's just here we have a nice little chart which shows you the pivots, and also shows you an EP in here. And so I believe we've already gone over the things necessary to meet our March requirement in milestone 1. We can knock that out of the way early. We're doing this as fast as possible, keeping in mind that we want to keep the quality in what we're doing, and also provide really, really good products for the JV. So especially since we plan on presenting some of these things to some substantial clients. So I guess that's all I've got right now. Looking forward to seeing Felipe in October, and we have this here, and he can come and examine this all he wants, and on our machines, and something we really need to get a clarification on bugs and stuff like that. The first software that we ever sold was back in the early 80s, and we sent it out, and our first 2 customers got back to us, and one of them was a lady in Florida. We sent her out a floppy disk, assuming that she knew what she was doing when she bought the software. Boy, were we wrong. What she did was she called us up on the phone and said, hey, I tried this out on my record player and it didn't work. And from that point on, we understood that there's a lot to good customer support. And so what happened was, over the years, we developed a product called Precision Trader 1, 2, and eventually Precision Trader 3. And for those products, I personally was involved in the testing process, and I personally took the point of view that I'm going to do customer support, even though I only may have done part of it. And what happened was we sent out products that people didn't have problems with, for the most part. And if they did, we'd fix them or help them along in the process of fixing them. A lot of times when there's a problem with the software, it's a misunderstanding by the user, like that lady in Florida. And sometimes it's a small misunderstanding, or somebody pressed the wrong button. for example, if you do historical tests on here and simply press one or two buttons that on here, it can give you answers that are way off, and you never really know what you did necessarily. So, and this kind of happened to me the other day. The program just wouldn't work for me and stuff. It was just nuts, and this was the platform. And so what I did was I figured I might have pressed the wrong button somewhere, and I didn't want to spend several hours searching a town. So what I did very simply was uninstall the AMI Broker platform and reinstall it. And as a result of that, my deletion of all the AMI Broker files, everything in there was sparkling and new. Of course, I had to reinstall the licensing and some other little pieces of software into it to make it work properly, which took an extra 5 minutes. But the 5-minute process on reinstalling and the AMI Broker program and all my software with it took a lot less time and was far more certain for me than trying to figure out what was wrong. Okay, and so I'm just a lot more careful on what buttons I may press. Okay, that's just the way software works. The so what our philosophy on customer support is we like to help them out. And by the way, we have a company that we deal with where we buy things from them, and they have a customer support system that we really like. And it's not that I ever really have problems with their software. Their software is, I haven't found any bugs in it. There might be features I don't prefer or I prefer to see differently, but software works okay. And if there's some understanding that I need or some assistance, I call them up and it's dealt with immediately. And we have a process that we can use with your computer down there that allows us to go in your computer and make the modifications that may be needed and see what's going on, which is what I do with this company in Colorado, so that it just makes customer support quick and easy and wonderful. And because very often the problem is you have a user who might be confused about one or two issues in the software, and with us coming online and going into their computer while they're watching us and talking to us perhaps on Skype, which costs nothing, then we can handle the issue and move on. Okay, so that's our process for customer support and dealing with bugs. All right, so that's what we've got going on. And I guess that's the end of that. Thank you for your time and looking forward to seeing Felipe in October.